I made a commitment to the citizens of Oklahoma that I would start to process 25% of the unemployment claims backlog by last Friday. And I'm here to report that we have met and exceeded that goal. We're actually still waiting on an update from our payment vendor on the total amount paid out over the weekend, as the payment file was still processing when I left for this conference today. But I'm confident in saying that we processed roughly 29% of the claims backlog, which includes both PUA and regular unemployment benefits. And that percentage is likely a low estimate. Once I have received the data from the vendor, I will share that information with the public and the media. So how did we do this and why? We did this by querying the data from the claims backlog and seeing what percentage of the applicants were getting hung up on certain questions like, are you able and available for work? Which during a pandemic means something different than it does during normal time. We analyzed that data, and when we then backdated the claims for this group of people to the week that the person was first eligible and removed flags in the system that were not pertinent to determining eligibility and processed any weeks that they had previously filed to pay today and tomorrow. Now the why. Why did we do this? Quite simply, we did it because it's the right thing to do. What does that mean for the citizens of the state? This means that for the first time in 4, 6, maybe even 8 weeks, some people will have the ability to file for multiple back weeks of pay that they previously had not been able to file for. Actually, right before this, I was on the phone with a young woman named Ashley. And when she saw the PUA button light up on her screen, she started crying. And I gotta tell you, I got really choked up too, because her relief in seeing that was palpable. And I want that for every single person that is eligible for PUA or UI. I want that moment for them. One other thing that happened during that call, though, was Ashley asked me how to answer a question from the PUA weekly attestation application. And even though she knew that she had not worked for the week before, the way the question was worded was very confusing, and she didn't know how to answer it, and that's a problem. This story has a happy ending for Ashley, and that we helped her fill out the questionnaire correctly, but I know these questions have tripped up countless other people as they've gone through this process, and that's unacceptable, and we are fixing that. I'm pleased to tell you that we are deploying new questions for the PUA application tomorrow, and they will be much easier to navigate, and they will give the user feedback on what an answer of yes means, and if they choose no, what that indicates in the system, and that will help them navigate this process better. Another change we're making to the PUA website. I've heard from many people that when they get to the application, the buttons on the application do not load. I know this seems like a small thing, but I've heard it so many times from so many people. I'm confident that this fix will help people. What's going on is the application is retrieving data from the mainframe, and that takes 6 to 10 seconds for that process to execute. And what people are abandoning the application when they see that. So we're going to put an icon there that says application loading. So at least some people have some indication that something is happening with that application. And hopefully when that button lights up, they'll be there to see it. One other change that will be happening this week is we're moving many Tier 2 phone agents to Tier 1. I know many people in this room had never said the word Tier 2 or Tier 1 agent probably in their whole life, and then in the past 8 to 10 weeks they've said it I don't know how many times, right? What is this gonna do? This is going to put the Tier 2 agents that can process a claim on the front lines, so on first contact, people can have resolution. We're putting the people that have the knowledge on those phones so that you guys will not hear someone will call you back, okay? But I do want to say this, it's not a silver bullet. Call times will probably increase slightly because we will have those Tier 1 agents saying, let me help you with your claim. So I need you guys to stand by me with this because I think these fixes are gonna work, okay? I really do, but nothing is perfect. But you will be able to get a hold of someone that can help you. In closing, Well, excuse me, I'm not closing just yet. I want to be clear though, we are not planting a flag in the sand and saying we're done, okay? We're not congratulating ourselves for this progress just yet. This is an update to show progress. This is not a final lap, okay? We will continue to move quickly to address these issues and work through the claims backlog that has been an issue for so many months. In closing, I do want to thank a few people who have worked tirelessly over the weekend and throughout this pandemic to make today's announcement possible. OMES, under the leadership of Director Stephen Hart and CIO Jerry Moore, have been invaluable throughout this process, and I'm grateful for our partnership with our vendor Granicus. Additionally, I would like to thank Attorney General Mike Hunter and Secretary David Ostro for their leadership, and a few other people who pulled many all-nighters working through this process to get those 29% of those backlog claims processed. Specifically, Kelly Smith, Joe McIntosh, Justin Devereaux, Trey Davis, Brian Jepson, Aaron Martin, Joshua Walter, Angela Allen, and Margaret Arney. Thank you all for the hard work you put in to make this possible. There's a lot of work ahead, but I know we've got the right team to do it. I'll take questions.
When you say 29% of the backlog, can you give an idea around about how many, the number of people that is? I know you mentioned dollar amount, but the actual number of people. And also, what was it, not to make you talk bad about previous leadership, but what was it, the disconnect in those 2 months that they couldn't get any of that done that you were able to do in a few days?
So as far as numbers, I'm going to be really careful about quoting anything right now, because I think people and claims are two different things, because a person can have multiple claims, they can get denied, but we are getting that data together. The reason why I didn't say it today is because I want to be 100% confident when I give it to you, it's accurate. As for previous leadership, I really can't speak to what decisions they would or would not have made, but when this decision was presented to me and the variety of things I could do for this, to move this along, if you just did the simple math at the process we were going, it would be 2022 before we processed the backlog of claims without a bold action. And to me, that was unacceptable, so I chose to do this and to act this way.
How do things work with conduit? I know a lot of people had their claims processed, but they never got their debit card.
Yeah, we're working through that. Admittedly, the conduit process is not perfect. I agree. That is a vendor that we're having talks with, and we're working to see if we can get alternative methods of payment so that people aren't dependent upon that credit, that card to be successful in receiving their unemployment. Anyone else?
Do you have an estimate of how many claims are backlogged? I know you don't want to give an exact number. Do you have an estimate?
I'll tell you why I don't have an estimate. How does that sound? Whenever we approved the backdating, the backlog of claims for the previous weeks, what we then had as, say, 50,000, right, quickly became 100,000 and 150,000, because by backdating that, people became eligible for other weeks, right? So we quickly saw that the numbers that we had in front of us were not accurate, because actually what we were doing was processing those claims in multiples of 3s and 4s and 5s. So the number will be hopefully impressive, but I'm not confident in the results just yet, but I promise you we'll get them to you.
When do you expect to have everything resolved? You're going to do 25% on things that your goal for the rest?
Yeah, and the plan is we will have the majority done by this time next week, next Monday. I don't want to say 100% because there are some claims in there that have some really unique problems, and I know the minute I say that, those couple of people will be like, not me, and they're just as important, and we want to make sure we serve them too. One other thing that I want to point out while I have you guys here is processing claims doesn't mean that everybody gets paid though too, right? There are claims that will be denied. There will be UI claims that through this process are denied. What does that mean? That means those people can now apply for PUA, and we're working on that process. So this isn't a fix-all, and I'm readily admitting that. This is speeding up a process that should have been done 4, 6, 8 weeks ago. So some people will receive, a denial and then have to then apply for PUA, but we will work with those people and expedite those claims.
What are you doing to make sure people aren't getting fraudulent claims? I'm hearing from people are getting letters in the mail telling them about the job opportunities in their area they are employed and didn't file.
Well, I haven't heard about that specifically, but we have a task force that's looking into it. We've got the FBI, and we're partnering with the OSBI on all fraudulent claims.